Something is quietly changing inside Webb Sun City Huntley.
And it's not something you'll see in a headline or even notice right away.
But it is shaping how this community works today and where it's headed over the next several years.
Webb Sun City Huntley is entering a different phase of its life cycle.
This community was built primarily between the late 1990s and early 2010s.
Which means a lot of the original systems, both inside the homes and across the community, are reaching a point where they need to be replaced, not just maintained.
It's a really important distinction because maintenance is predictable, replacement is strategic.
We're talking about things like roofing cycles, mechanical systems, infrastructure, shared amenities,
and even how the community plans for those long-term costs.
At the same time, the HOA is evolving with that reality.
There's more focus now on reserves, long-term planning, and making sure the community is prepared, not just for today, but for the next 10 to 20 years.
And while all of that is happening internally,
the surrounding Huntley area is growing and evolving externally at the same time.
So you have both internal maturity and external growth happening together.
Now, on the surface, this might sound like a normal progression.
And in many ways, it is. But what it really signals is something deeper.
Webb Sun City is no longer a new community.
It's becoming a mature, established community, one that's focused on long-term stability.
And that changes how people evaluate it.
Because when a community reaches the stage, buyers don't just look at the home.
They start looking at the entire system behind the home.
They're asking questions like, how well is this community maintained long-term? Are reserves properly funded? Is everything being planned or reacted to?
That's very important. And those questions weren't as front and center 5 or 10 years ago.
Back then, it was more about lifestyle, amenities, and floor plans.
Today, it's still about those things, but layered with financial stability, predictability, and long-term confidence.
So the lens has changed.
For homeowners in Webb Huntley, the shift shows up in a few very real ways.
One is financial awareness.
As the community matures, there's a stronger focus on properly funding long-term needs.
And that can feel different than what people expected when they first moved in.
But underneath that, there's something important happening.
The community is protecting itself.
And in many ways, protecting home values long-term.
Another impact is how homes are perceived.
Homes that have been updated, maintained, and kept in line with today's expectations
stand out more than ever.
And homes that haven't,
they don't necessarily get negotiated.
They get passed over. So what does this mean for the long-term direction of Webb Sun City Huntley?
It points towards a community that's becoming more stable, more intentional, and more self-aware.
You're seeing investment not just in homes, but in infrastructure, amenities, and long-term planning.
And that's what allows a community like this to continue evolving instead of plateauing.
It also reinforces something really important.
This isn't just a place people move to.
It's a place that continues to adapt as the people living here change.
And often the most important shift in a community aren't the loud ones.
They're the ones happening quietly beneath the surface.
And understanding those shifts
is what helps people make better decisions about what comes next.